with Google, which is an initiative to help people prepare for work, find jobs, and grow their business online. In this workshop, we're going to talk about the basics of customer-focused marketing and help you launch a successful business. Now, again, you will have content in here for the novice marketer, the mature marketer, and the expert marketer. So it will be a benefit for everyone. A little bit about myself. I'm Vito Curcuru, founder of Consult Vito. Here's my phone number, my email address, and my website. I have those up there in case you'd like a link to the presentation or a PDF of the presentation. It does take me maybe a week or so to get it live. But if you're interested in a PDF for this, feel free to send me a note or give me a call. I do offer social media, digital marketing, advertising, public relations, and much more. I am a constant contact partner, which means I can sell constant contact. I've been trained in email, and I have a lot of resources at my disposal if you're interested. Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce, I'm the president of the board of directors, and this is brought to you not only by Consult Vito, but with our Grow with Google partnership. And Grow with Google is responsible for all of this content and all the information that you're going to read. So it has been researched and vetted. And again, it is brought to you by Google. In this workshop, we're going to learn why marketing is important. We're going to talk about the customer journey, explain how your marketing can influence and who does business with you. You're going to learn to reach prospective customers and build awareness of your brand, as well as how to engage your customers during their decision process and to influence their consideration. You're also going to learn the methods of conversion to increase the likelihood of purchase and how to sustain customer loyalty and encourage brand advocacy. Along the way, you'll be able to ask questions. I will not be able to get to the questions until we're completely finished with the content, but look forward to answering any questions. In addition, if you have questions about this or anything else, I do offer through the Chamber a 1 hour or more discovery session where I'll sit down with your marketing, give you as much free information as I can to help you, and I will give you some freemium, which is maybe some programs low cost that you may want to entertain or do, and I'll look at whatever you'd like me to as far as your materials, your website, and just basically kind of give you some tips on how to improve or answer any questions you might have, because I know marketing is kind of a complicated situation these days. So let's start talking about what marketing is and why the customer journey is a key element. So customer journey is something I know you may have heard about or may have talked about, but this is really going to start to bring it all to life. Great marketers don't make stuff, they make meaning. This quote by marketing guru Seth Godin goes to the heart of it. The job of marketing is to make your products and overall brand meaningful for customers. And that's what creates a customer base that is loyal to your brand, choosing your products over others. But how does it all begin? So let's meet Shalon and Sharika, the founders of a business called TW Tote. They couldn't find a professional way to carry his lunch to work, so he tried a paper bag, a plastic bag, and even Velcro neoprene, but none of them reflected his style. He looked for a professional lunch bag online, and he couldn't find anything he was looking for at a reasonable price point. So he took matters into his own hands, and his tote was born. Like most new entrepreneurs, they started out with passion and a great idea. They had design and engineering skills and could build a product people wanted, but they didn't know much about marketing. Many of their decisions were based on gut instinct. It was a great start that they identified and created a product that met a real need, but what they really didn't know was how to make their products meaningful for their customers. They soon realized they needed to be great at marketing too. They needed to establish a brand that would reach more customers, sell more products, and build a following. So at its core, what you're trying to do is answer questions like, why should customers buy? What's in it for them? What makes your products, services, and company great? And why should they listen to your advice? And what's your backstory? So storytelling is going to be an important part of this, especially to your products and brand, because it can connect customers with your business on an emotional level. So when customers buy from you, you want them to feel good about that purchase. When marketing should really be about relationships, developing trust and credibility so that your customers want to buy from you. Staying in touch throughout the customer journey will help them think of you first. So let's talk about that customer journey as the sum of the experiences your customers go through when interacting with the brand. Awareness is the first phase when a potential customer discovers you, maybe through word of mouth, a Google search, or an ad. Next, they may move into the consideration phase. That's when customers weigh whether they'll buy from you or your competitor, whether they'll buy your type of product or something similar, or whether they'll buy it all. If the customer decides to buy, they move into purchase, and with the final phase being advocacy. So you may have seen this as sort of a new look at the sales funnel, and it's now taking you through what's called the customer journey. And your job as a marketer is to influence customers at every phase of that journey. At the awareness phase, your marketing is focused on reaching those customers where they are so they become aware of your brand. During consideration, your marketing is about engaging your customers by answering questions and building relationships. In the purchase phase, your marketing is about influencing your leads and converting them into paying customers. And lastly, sustaining contact with customers who had a good experience can build brand loyalty and turn them into advocates. At every phase of the customer journey, you have the opportunity to persuade them to move forward with you. The better the marketing, the greater the influence, the longer the journey. So let's talk about that first phase and how you're going to reach your customers and build awareness of your brand. So the customer journey may begin with someone who needs something, and then they turn to a Google search. Awareness could also be triggered through word of mouth, advertising, trade show marketing, or other types of communication. No matter how your customers find you, they'll likely continue their research by searching for your business online. To reach prospective customers, you first need to understand who they are, and then you're going to know how to reach them. Start by identifying who needs your products. Then build a brand that sparks their interest. And once you've defined your ideal market and built a solid brand, you're going to get your business online. So let's talk about each of these concepts in more detail. When it comes to identifying your customers, it's good to think about whose problems you want to solve. Who will the products and brand experience you'll create? Who's going to want that? Understanding exactly who your prospective customer is will guide your marketing. Your brand and products may be useful to just about anybody, but if you don't focus on your most likely customers, you'll spread your message and money too thin. Your market segmentation helps you narrow it. You can start with demographic segmentation, which includes things like age, gender, ethnicity, religion, income, and education level. You also want to know about their interests, their values, their personality, their lifestyle. Those are the psychographics. Geographics are location-based information like what size and density of region or neighborhood that they live in, what languages they speak, and even the climate where they live. Lastly, behavioral segmentation, understanding the frequency of your customers' purchases, their usage of your products, and level of loyalty. Creating customer personas can give you a real picture of who you're trying to reach. Naming them and associating a photo are common marketing practices. Consider this customer persona. She's in her mid-30s, female, single, and lives alone in a large city. She's college educated and has a mid-level management job in the fashion industry. She likes to have friends over to cook and drink wine. She dreams of traveling, but spends most of her time in the city, shopping at local boutiques and farmer markets. So how would you market something to her? Think about how you would influence her along the customer journey. What channels would you use to reach her? What type of imagery, words, or tone of voice would appeal to her? And what type of product attributes would be important to her? Once you identify your customers, it's time to create a brand that appeals to them. Branding is more than just logos, colors, graphic elements, and voice. A good brand identity connects emotionally to your prospective customers. Your logo design and brand colors will convey certain feelings and even inspire certain actions. Graphic elements communicate values and interests and should represent what your prospective customers aspire to. Your brand's messaging, tone, and voice do the same, helping to communicate what your brand is about and how it relates to them and how it aligns with their values. These shared values and ideals create the basis of your brand. Before you choose a logo or colors, You need to define your values and ideals. This company positions itself as luxury, but an approachable brand. They want their products to be accessible while meeting their standards for quality and style. They use these characteristics to describe who they are, what they want to be, and how they want to be perceived. These values can be written into a brand positioning statement that establishes the foundation of your marketing efforts. Your brand positioning statement is your North Star. It can also be used externally in your marketing. It should include the customers you serve, what you offer and how it addresses your customer needs, how you're best at what you do, what differentiates you from the competitors, what's your unique value proposition, your brand promise or mission. This brand positioning statement should be brief, clear, and memorable. Good branding creates a cohesive, powerful experience for your customers, and it begins here. So here's a template you can use for your own brand positioning statement. The blue words are the placeholders. So for an audience who's challenged, here's your company providing that product, why it's different, because, and here's your mission. It's a very easy to use template. And once again, I can send you the presentation in PDF if you don't want to have to take notes today. So here's an example. For working professionals who need a stylish and functional lunch bag, TW Tote provides fashionable insulated vegan leather totes because everyone deserves a luxurious and functional lunch bag the entire family can use. Once you've defined your prospective customers and designed a brand that speaks to them, it's time to get your business online. You may find an audience through existing platforms like social media sites, seller platforms like Etsy, or a directory site often made for specific professionals like accountants or plumbers. These existing platforms can help you reach specific customers, but using them is like renting an office. You don't want to own the space, you lease it. That means the owner can change the space, raise the rent, or even go out of business and leave you in the lurch. If you build your brand's presence only on leased platforms, you risk the chance of your sole connection to your customers being wiped out at the whim of a platform. So leased platforms should only be used as a supplement to your own website. Building your own website ensures your online property. You own that property, and you have full control over its contents and how it behaves. You can also grow and customize it as your business grows. Also, your own website can be optimized for search engines, helping people find you. Google also offers a way to get your business online through a tool called Google My Business. You can create a free business profile that displays critical business information to searchers across Google Search and Maps, and it's optimized for different devices. Now, this should not replace a website, but it can help you stand out in search results and drive potential customers to your site. And it is, again, free. And this is the little box on the right when you type a business in, and it pops up and you can see often a picture of the business and information about the business. Because there are the business hours, the contact, the store locations, photos, videos, and more. And there's also built-in marketing features to communicate with your customers throughout the customer journey. You can find out by visiting google.com/business. And again, something every business should do because there's no charge to it, and it'll help you appear very high on those search results because they'll be right there on the right. Once customers discover your brand, some move into the next phase of the customer journey, consideration. Here you can guide customers through the process of evaluating your brand, engaging and influencing them to learn more about you. During the consideration phase, customers are deciding whether or not they want to do business with you. They're evaluating your brand compared to other choices and gathering information to help them decide what or if to buy. Your marketing strategy is to provide answers to their questions and other details to help them in their evaluation. Engaging your customers during the consideration phase is crucial. Learn about their needs and wants by listening to them, asking questions, and having meaningful conversations. Spend time communicating and delivering valuable information and content to your customers. Your goal during this phase is to build interest and desire in your customers so they want to develop a deeper and longer relationship with your brand. To learn about your customers, listen and don't make assumptions. Determine their pain points. The better you understand those needs, the better you can create solutions and communicate them. With lunch tote examples, they discovered their customers loved their lunch bags, but also needed different types of totes for a variety of uses. You can address the challenges your potential customers have with your particular industry, products, or with your brand specifically. Analyzing what customers are searching for online will give you insight into what they want and need. By listening and learning, you can figure out how to best serve your customers through your products and content. You can use Google search to find out what your customers may be looking for. Often it's solutions to their problems. So how do your prospective customers search, and what terms do they use that can connect them to your products or brand? Searches by the totes customers might be around fashionable work bags or style tips. These search terms become the keywords and keyword phrases that should be used regularly throughout your marketing. Most smaller businesses should have at least 5 and up to 30 keywords or phrases they know their customers use to search for their type of products and expertise. Whenever you enter a search query, you're going to see a list of related searches at the bottom of the search results page. They could type professional lunch bag into the Google search bar and see what related searches come up. Those may be good words or phrases to use in their marketing. The screenshot shows a graphic representation of a Google search results page with related searches below the search results highlighted in blue and green. A free tool called Google Trends can also help you find the keywords and ideas for new content. Google Trends will show you the relative popularity of different search terms on Google. If it has enough data, Trends can show a forecast of search volume and search experiences that are having significant growth. If you can use it to find and compare the popularity of different words and phrases, you can determine seasonality of different searches and see where searches happen geographically. You can also use it to discover related search topics and queries. All this information will help you see what topics people are interested in and create relevant content to publish on your site. The screenshot displays a Google Trends results page for the search terms Bikram yoga, yoga, and hatha yoga. Once you know what your customer is looking for, it's time to give them what they want. The shift from listening and communicating begins when you share content that educates and inspires them. Your customers most likely don't know half of what you know about your industry and even less about your specific brand and products. What can you teach them? What can you demonstrate or instruct them in? How can you help them, inspire them, and provide resources? Engage with customers by giving them valuable information that proves you're a credible source of information about your industry. Content that builds trust by sharing your expertise, and content that's relatable and likable. This type of communication isn't about promoting your products specifically, it's about offering information that helps them with their research, essentially trading value for their attention. You can share content, words, photos, and videos through many different channels. You don't have to be on all of them, but you do have the opportunity to reach different audiences in different ways through different channels. Think of each of these channels as a means to share your content, to grab their attention, in a place where your customer likes to spend time and learn. So for instance, you may have a YouTube channel with videos talking about product features. Could also showcase special offers on social media and a blog. There's a lot of choices. You want to choose channels based on where your customers spend time and what best delivers the content you're sharing. Ultimately, you want to drive traffic back to your website and share content directly on your site. No one wants to feel like they're being sold to, and that's what scares many businesses away from marketing. But as long as your marketing is customer focused and appropriate at each phase of the customer journey, you're sharing and not selling. Provide opportunities for your customers to evaluate your brand and products through your content. Explain what makes those products special. Do it with an FAQ page, frequently asked questions, on your website or comparison spec sheet to understand your different packages. Create demo videos and educational webinars that help your customers evaluate their brand. Sample and free trials are also ways to help customers decide whether or not to buy. Encourage people to sign up for your email list. Communicating this way with prospective customers helps develop a relationship built on trust, credibility, and likability. And these are the things you earn by putting in the work we've talked about so far. Beyond sharing great content, you also need to spend time solving their problems, even the ones that come up before they're a paying customer. You can influence their consideration by having conversations, answering questions, and helping your customers evaluate you. Marketing during the consideration phase can be long and takes patience. But having a consistent content strategy and dedication to engaging your customers through a variety of channels will solidify a relationship that lasts. Let's take a look at a real-world business to help us understand the third and fourth phases of that customer journey. Meet Tracy and Danny, the mother-daughter team behind Wicked Good Cupcakes. In 2010, they took cake decorating classes, and their passion became a business, and their first store opened in October 2011. As their reputation grew, they received hundreds of shipping requests, but they couldn't find a way to ship cupcakes and have them arrive fresh and intact. That's when they came up with the big idea: cupcakes in mason jars. By filling jars with layers of cake, frosting, and filling, the cupcake stays fresh for 10 days without refrigeration and can be shipped easily. News spread, and in April 2013, Tracy and Danny debuted their product on Shark Tank in front of 10 million viewers. Wicked Good Cupcakes became the go-to site to buy unique baked goods online. And with an appearance on the popular TV show, their brand awareness was raised and they were actively engaging with their customers. Their next step was to focus on increasing purchases and turning customers into brand loyal advocates. It was time for them to do more marketing focused on purchase and advocacy phases of the customer journey. They needed to learn more about their customers so they could better convert them. They needed to identify opportunities to improve their website and ways to make their entire experience, especially the checkout process, more efficient. They also needed to give their customer reasons to come back to their site, share their experiences with others, eventually become brand advocates. And here are those cupcakes in a jar. So let's start with that purchase phase. Once your marketing has addressed the awareness and consideration phases of the customer journey, you should have some leads who have become prospects and are ready to become paying customers. In this phase, your job as a marketer is to influence these leads and prospects to become paying customers. That's what we're going to call conversion. To convert customers, you need to figure out which leads are most likely to become customers and focus your marketing efforts on them. To do this, you need to identify the key customer actions that lead to conversion. Then share the right marketing messages and a timely call to action to encourage the purchase with those ready customers. Finally, you should convert more customers when you streamline the purchase process and make it as easy as possible for them. How do you know where customers are on their journey? You should look at those actions. Certain actions signal they are more likely to convert. So here's some key actions that vary depending on the business, but a few to think about are signing up for your email list, completing a form, like a request for a quote, downloading content like a product brochure or watching a video, signing up for a trial or demo account, downloading your app, calling you or emailing you to schedule a consultation, placing a product in the online shopping cart, but leaving the site before they make a purchase. Now, it's important to remember these key actions won't all be online. Once you've identified customers ready to make a purchase, it's time to share content and calls to action that are designed to convert. As I mentioned earlier, Wicked Good Cupcakes is a great example of what they've done. They sent coupons to people who abandoned their shopping carts. Your conversion efforts could include a discount or a special deal like buy one, get one free, or an exclusive offer with more of a VIP feel. You can also send an invitation to special content like a webinar or event, or include customer testimonials that share more about your brand or product. Think about what else you could offer as a value-added service like free shipping or a free tutorial with a product specialist. Present these value adds in a way that sound compelling and time sensitive. Good copywriting will go a long way in creating a persuasive call to action. You also need to decide whether you're going to share this content with the audience you've identified as ready to convert. Consider marketing and advertising channels to let you reach this curated audience. You could possibly use your email marketing platform as well as a digital advertising platform. There are a lot of elements that go into conversion, but one of the easiest ways to convert is to make the purchase process as simple as possible. You want to create a hassle-free online checkout experience by reducing the number of steps, offering guest checkout as opposed to requiring sign-in, providing value-added services or benefits with purchase, and ensuring they feel great about what they're buying. When the cupcake company wanted to make it faster and easier for customers to complete their purchase, they reduced the total number of checkout steps. They also continuously test other checkout options, tweak the process based on the results. And they also use Google Analytics, another free product, to see how those changes affected their sales and made the necessary adjustments as the data came in. We've talked about what you should do to convert customers. Now let's look at a tool that's going to help you accomplish it. The Google Analytics tool is free. It can help you identify key customer actions that happen on your website. It's one of the most popular website analytic platforms available. It allows you to connect a dashboard that measures information and tracks the customer journey on your website. It's going to help you understand, how do people find my site? What do customers interact with once they find me online? What demographic groups visit my site the most? Which channels drive the most traffic? And which channels and actions drive the most conversions? Google Analytics can help you do better marketing through the entire customer journey. Specific to the purchase phase, Google Analytics provides insight into actions impacting your conversions, helps you identify customers ready to convert, and lets you analyze your conversion process so you can get more people to complete actions. Another Google tool is Google Ads, and we've all seen those on the top and on the side. One of the advantages of digital advertising is the ability to deliver specific content to specific groups of people. My big caution for everyone on Google Ads is to make sure you set the budget that you can afford. Because with Google Ads and these other social media platforms and other places you'll advertise, if you ask it to spend $1,000, it'll spend $1,000. If you ask it to spend $10 a day, it'll spend $10 a day. I see a lot of people burn out of Google Ads because, quite frankly, they thought, well, we'll get as much as we can with as much budget as we can quickly. Try and spread it out a little bit. It'll help keep your awareness up. Now we're on the final phase of that customer journey, advocacy. As in the other phases, you can influence your customers' actions through focused marketing that sustains loyalty and encourages them to recommend you to others. By giving your customers more to consume and making their experiences great, you can sustain their business and earn their loyalty. Loyal customers think of your brand over all others. This is going to help encourage them to promote your brand and products to people they know, helping you reach new customers. All customers are not created equal, and a customer who stays interested and engaged with your brand and continues shopping with you has a lot of value to your business. So how do you create more of these types of customers? By providing more value to them. You might do this through consistent, excellent customer service, new products, as well as different programs and incentives. Ultimately, you want to keep your customers happy, engaged, and buying from you. Happy customers will often naturally tell others about their experiences, but you can also nudge them to do this more with some focused marketing. You can identify customers who are ready for this phase based on the number of purchases they've made, how long they've been a customer, and if they're speaking on social channels about your brand. So the type of customer loyalty can be done a number of ways and relies on the entire customer experience being stellar up to this point. If they didn't have a good checkout experience, they had trouble with the product, they felt ignored or unsatisfied, you have some things to overcome. And you want to stay in touch with them in whatever channels that make sense for your business. Share content that's valuable to your paying customers, whether it's tutorials, video guides, and new product launch info. And these don't have to be sophisticated or complex. You can just take your phone and start talking. That's a video. You can There's some really cheap, free online editors. All the Apple computers come with iMovie. Very simple and easy ways to get your name out there and your word out there. If you don't want to write a blog, you can have a video blog, give some thoughts, put it on a YouTube channel, put it on your website. A lot of different ways to get feedback, a lot of different ways to get your name out there. It's going to help you continually improve your offering, service, and overall brand. So keep listening and make sure that people are understanding exactly what you're about to offer. Of course, there's loyalty programs and incentives that will help you sustain the customer loyalty you've built by helping them feel special. You can create a loyalty program based on VIP and exclusivity, something that offers special product sneak peeks or videos to help them understand your products better. Your program could offer special discounts and perks like occasional coupons or a points reward system. Personalization will go a long way, so you may also want to consider things like sending personalized notes with purchases or special offers on birthdays and anniversaries. Once your customers feel taken care of and delighted, they'll be more open and encouraged to recommend your brand to people they know. In fact, 92% of customers trust word-of-mouth recommendations over other types of marketing. Customers referred by other customers have a 37% higher retention rate. That's why we want to encourage advocacy as much as we can. Have those individuals spread the word. Of course, ask for online reviews, try and get testimonials, and try and build some nice case studies so you can explain exactly the impact your product has had for that individual or that company. So encouraging customers to leave a review on Google and interacting with Google My Business is a great way to start because it's free and you can send people a link for which they can fill that out. It's very simple. And you can ask that customer leaving the review what their experience was. Your replies can be simple as a thanks. And now, of course, when we get into online reviews, the natural question is, what about negative reviews? And I always encourage people from a public relations standpoint, address the individual very simply and calmly and apologize and offer them an incentive to come back. And what people are going to see is that you responded to that individual in a positive way, that you weren't confrontational, and that maybe that individual is the part of the equation that has the problem and not you. Always be positive, address the issue, make an offer for them to come back, and always, like I said, you can't say it enough, keep it positive. Your customers are not the only ones who can become brand advocates. Employees, partners, and vendors are great candidates. If they aren't actual customers, they have intimate knowledge of your brand and can be encouraged to advocate for you. Influencer is another area, and there are paid influencers, and there's affiliates, sort of people speaking on your behalf. Affiliates are typically people in your industry who have a wide reach and a lot of traffic, and they'll receive a percentage of a sale to generate that's why you see sometimes on a website, if someone uses any clicks from this website, we may get a financial incentive. There's a lot of different ways to create that advocacy. So that's the end of our customer journey, but let's have a quick recap. As you can see, there's a lot of marketing you can do to influence it and to ensure your potential customers become aware of you, consider you fully, purchase something, and become brand loyal advocates. So customer-focused marketing for the awareness and consideration phases of the customer journey start by defining who your customers are and creating a brand that speaks to them. You'll need to get your business online in order for your customers to reach and research you. Spend time listening to prospective customers, learning about them so you can communicate effectively and deliver valuable content. All this works to develop strong relationships with your customers in the hopes they move to the next phase of that journey. In the last two phases, your marketing is focused on converting your customers and turning them into brand loyal advocates. Not all people who show interest are going to reach these phases, so it's important to identify key actions. Then you want to identify those customers so you can share timely calls to action that pave the way to purchase. You want to make sure the purchase process is streamlined and easy so you don't lose someone in the process. Once you've landed a customer, keep them happy, keep them satisfied to build their customer loyalty. Implement programs and incentives to sustain their loyalty and encourage their advocacy among everyone they know. You can also create advocacy programs among people like employees and influencers. Ultimately, that's what you want, more customers. So that's the recap, the customer journey, all the phases, and essentially how to go about them. And as I said in the beginning, whether you're new, mature, or an expert, there should be something in there that maybe you can learn. And it kind of puts a framework over all of the, what, a lot of people would say was the old sales funnel, which is now we're talking about the customer journey. But it all kind of comes together in this presentation, which is one of the reasons I really like to give this to people, because it's a unique way of seeing all the information, and a unique way that Google presents it. And as I said, this is all Google information. So if anybody has any questions, or and you can if you want to talk about a topic specifically not covered in this, has to do with marketing, feel free to ask. Looks like someone has a question about budgets. And common question, how much should I spend, right? Well, there are formulas for different industries and company types that say 3 to 5% or 5 to 10%. But when you're a smaller and a mid-sized business, the best advice I can give you is to think of budget as a trial and error, in terms of you're going to launch a program on a LinkedIn or Google AdWords or Facebook or a Twitter. And what you want to do is you want to go through the process of setting the campaign up, because a lot of these platforms give you expectations as to how many people the campaign is going to reach, how many clicks you might get, what the click-through rate is. They're giving you some of those estimates already. And it's a very powerful tool that most people don't realize. You can start setting your budget and have expectations as to how these campaigns will do, because these platforms, Google, Facebook, Twitter, etc., LinkedIn, they will give you the parameters of what you tell them as far as amount of money and the target you're looking for. And then what I tell people is, okay, now that you have a little bit of information, build an ad and take a week to 2 weeks to give it a try. And the amount of money you want to spend is the amount of money you can afford to spend comfortably, knowing that you're going to be in a learning phase. So often people will say, what if I spend $500 a month on LinkedIn? And I'll say, let's start with a $50 test for a week or two to see the kinds of results that we're getting, because we're going to see what LinkedIn says we should be getting. And then we're going to test different pieces of creative. And then after about 2 weeks, then we'll have some learning and we can do some tweaking, because not all platforms are going to do particularly well for all types of companies. Right now, I see a lot of positive results on Twitter and LinkedIn. But for some businesses, Facebook would probably be the best investment. I do recommend people take a try at Google AdWords. They really simplified the setup, and I have a presentation on that, how easy it is to set up a Google AdWords account and get that rolling. Because Google AdWords is, when people are searching for that particular item or topic, it goes right, goes right to the matter, right? So if someone's searching for a particular kind of school, a particular kind of cheese, they type in the phrase in Google and your ad comes up. It's very lower funnel activity, because you're really getting to the point where they're probably more ready to purchase than if you put out a Facebook ad. And Facebook, can be a tough sell for some of the B2B type businesses. LinkedIn, without the right target, I mean, you can get specific on on the targeting, and that's where you start to test that budget. For places like Google AdWords, you can set a budget of $10 a week. You can set a budget for, $50 a month, and they'll tell you the estimates, and then you'll know that you're sort of always on at a lower budget. Then you can start to spike those budgets when you have an offer, or you're giving a tour, or you have a new product launch. So when it comes to budgets, I always say approach with caution, and make sure your budget's going to last longer than a month, and you have enough budget. Whatever number you were thinking, make sure that you set those budget levels so that you're on more than you're off, because you want to keep that awareness going. Because our growth through organic postings, just with putting posts on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, it's very difficult to grow your business without spending some kind of advertising. So I always recommend to give some of those places a trial run. There's of course other places to advertise. There's trade associations. There's newspaper websites. There's publications, magazine publications have websites, all different places of thought leadership that you can go. But again, I always recommend start slow, start low, and see what kind of results you can get. So that's a great question about budget. It often comes up a lot, and I recommend just start experimenting. Does anybody else have any other questions? Looks like we have a question about the types of content to post. So, there's a lot of content experts out there who are, reveal themselves that their content will generate leads, their content will generate activity. I have some presentations on content I can send out, but my biggest recommendation is to be true to yourself and to generate the content that you're comfortable with, that you can produce, and to not go out of bounds and get too aggressive or try to have a content program that doesn't make a lot of sense, because people will see through that and they'll see that you're not being true to your brand and that you're not being authentic. And those are some big words right now, being genuine and authentic to your brand. And the content should reflect that. It should really reflect you. And that's kind of this brand program that we outlined here with the value proposition, the brand statement, the positioning statement. The biggest thing I always tell people, whether you work with me or not, is to be true to your business, be true to yourself and your mission and why you started that business and why you're passionate about it. And, there's ways to discover that. Simon Sinek's The Why is a great TED Talk. He talks about Apple branding and why it's so powerful and, why people associate Apple how they do. And, they think of Apple as this really powerful brand. And those are the kinds of things that can be really valuable when you're starting to think about these things. But overall, again, be true to yourself, be true to your pricing, and be true to the spirit of why you started or why you're working at that business. Because once you start to veer from there, it's very difficult to come back. It's sort of when you tell someone, when you start one lie, it becomes a web of lies, and then it's very difficult to keep up. And when you start to veer away from who you are and what your brand is, it becomes very difficult to keep up, because you keep trying to invent yourself and your content, and you keep trying to publish things that aren't true to who you are and true to your spirit, which makes it extraordinarily difficult to maintain. It's about 17 minutes before the hour. Anybody else have any other questions? I know that's a lot of information to take in. Once again, I'm Vito Curcuru, consultvito.com. My email address and phone number are there. More than happy to send a PDF of this. This is all Google content. I'm president of the board of directors of the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce. Great organization. We're in Lower Southeast Michigan. And I do sell Constant Contact, which means I've taken a lot of training. I have access to the materials, and I've kind of been there for a few years with Constant Contact. I also offer through the chamber. It's a chamber offer. It's free. There's no obligation. We talk once. I'm not trying to sell you anything, but we'll talk about your social media, your advertising, your public relations, all the things that you might be doing in your marketing program where you may need assistance. Or maybe you just have some questions about how, certain parts of marketing work. More than happy to give you that information. On behalf of the chamber, it's the offer that I present to members and non-members, just as an act of good faith and goodwill, and to help spread the marketing knowledge that I've accumulated over the years, because I know marketing can be extraordinarily difficult these days. So looks like those were the two biggest questions. We had them asked in a couple of different ways. Regarding the brand, someone has wondering if I could give a quick 5-minute or less review of brand. So, there's a lot of misconceptions about brand, and this is a great presentation because I think it really addresses those. It's not just color, logos, and fonts, and that's what a lot of people think it is. It's your tone, it's your voice, it's how you're representing yourself on your website. It's the words you use. It's defining your brand pillars, what you're offering to people. It's your mission. It's your vision. It's comparing yourself to different different ways for you to think about your company. As we learned before, some people will say, well, I'm a luxury product. Well, you want to make sure that you are a luxury product and that you're not maybe lower end, because you want to match that price point or match what your materials or whatever the service level you're offering, because those all make up your brand. When you think of the word Lexus, certain things come to your mind. When you think of the word Mercedes, certain things come to your mind. When you think of the word Toyota, certain things come to your mind. When you think of the word Alfa Romeo, certain things come to mind. Or when you think of Jeep, certain things come to mind. So those are really, that's all encompassing the brand, and it goes beyond that discussion of logos, fonts, and colors. It kind of has to get through that discussion into your voice, how your brand interacts with people, and what the expectations people have of your brand. So you generally go through a large brand exercise with people that's based on years of experience, but what I just kind of talked about is a very, very much a large part of it. And what this presentation does, it also takes you through some of that exercise as well. So it's worthwhile to take a week or more or 2 weeks to really think about your brand and to really think about colors, the image you want to represent you, of course, but to think about the language you're going to use. Is it going to be simple? Is it going to be complex? Who's that target audience? And that's what you're trying to continue to reflect, not only your company, yourself, but what your target audience is expecting. So great question about the brand. So it's about, we're going to end a little early today. Appreciate everyone's time. My website will have June's webinars coming up. I'm going to decide on that in the next week or so. Appreciate everyone's time. If you have any questions, please contact me. And once again, we'll post the next set of webinars up very shortly on my website. Contact me if you want the presentation. This presentation will be on the YouTube channel of the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce. I hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks.